You're drowning in a marriage that feels empty. Your partner is there, but the emotional connection you crave is missing. You're raising kids together in a home filled with silence, maybe even coldness or unspoken tension. You're just existing alongside of each other, running a household, checking all the boxes, yet you feel lonely in your own marriage. You're probably exhausted from pretending that everything's okay when inside you're falling apart. You wonder if your partner will ever change. You question if you're losing yourself in the process. You're stuck, lonely, and terrified of what life will look like if nothing changes. I'm Crystal Dirksen, co-host of the Robert Jean Experience, here with your host, Robert Jean. He is a behavioral engineer, neuroplastician, drug rehab consultant. He's also the creator of Tactics and FasterEFT. Today, we're going to be helping you identify the red flags, recognize the green flags, and reclaim your emotional clarity, connection in your relationships. All right, here's Robert.
Wow, relationships. This is a very big topic. Matter of fact, the number one cause of all of our problems, whether it's weight loss, addictions, traumas, fears, phobias, starts with relationships. Relationship with somebody. Emotional programming. Relationships is the cause of a lot of our problems, but not knowing what, where, why, and how, So I started this work many, many years ago. And anytime I'm dealing with helping people, it's always about somebody in some experience, some relationship. Relationships play a role in our identity, our values, whether we're loved or unloved. It's our emotions, our conditions. It's the big ball of wax. It's everything all rolled up in one. When I work with people with weight loss, weight gain, addictions, it all goes back to relationships. So why do we keep repeating the crazy cycles, and how do you change it? That's the $100 million question.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And we usually start out the podcast with, we got a big topic for you. And on our podcast, we really do. You talk about some of the biggest topics that other people are not talking about, or they're not going into and really understanding the dynamics behind the problem. But
Right.
I love that about you, because you really go in to the truth, how to resolve the problem. And so that's what we're going to help people do today. So
Mm-hmm.
about this topic about relationships. Relationships can be rewarding, and they can also be some of the most painful experiences
Yeah.
that we have. And you often talk about the unconscious mind, the part of us that holds the memories, the emotional patterns. Can you explain how the unconscious mind works and how it affects the way we connect and respond in our relationships?
Right. Well, if you start at the beginning, here it is. I always say you're the winner. You were a spark in somebody's eye. You were the fastest swimmer to the egg. Race one, you won. Race number two, 9 months later, you're born. Race number three will be death. Between death and birth, there are experiences. Now, I always say that, and it's logical. I don't. So, what birth order are you in? Are you the first, the last, the
Middle.
middle? So the middle child, the one that didn't really count much, right?
Right.
And so the first one has a different environment, and the last one has a different environment, and the middle one. Now there's ages differences, All of these play a role in who we think we are, you know, um, because each child has a different environment growing up in the life, and it depends on what's going on with your parents, the culture, the birthing, and all this stuff. And so when you start at the basics, there's two aspects about us. One of them is super smart, but is an idiot. Super smart, but an idiot. And we judge that as an idiot, and I'll explain why. We have consciousness, which is also an idiot, unless they know how things work, right? So we come to this world, and what happens around us are people impact us. So if you're born in India, and you have different culture, you have different language, and your family emotional dynamics, because your dad meets your mom. Your dad comes from a different world, your mom comes from a different world, they come and blend. Sometimes the blending is not so pleasant. They
That's
will bring their baggage, they'll bring their emotional traumas, they'll bring their hurts, and then they're going to have you, the child, right? Now, how they feel and how their emotional values are, like, say, for example, I mean, you said you're a middle child, but say you're the first child. The first child has a different environment than the last. And so, say they've been trying for years to have a child. You're the first grandchild born, the first child. I mean, you're the golden one, especially if you're a man, that's another system. If you're a girl, the girl, usually the first one, we've got a housemaid, we got a babysitter, we got all this stuff. So, again, depends on the system. Now, the
hmm
weird thing is your identity, your values, and who you think you are is implanted upon us by their how they treat you, how they talk to you, how people use you, abuse you, hurt you. They create your world. And from this world, you're going to take it. Take it wherever you go, and then you're going to operate from it. So if you're born in like a religious group, for example, and women are to be seen and not heard, women are to be useful, then you're going to be a useful person. Now, the bad thing about being that person, when I'm into, men have it's the same as well, that people like those type of people because they can use them and get what they want from them. And then, of course, you grow up, you feel like you're a doormat. And then, of course, you're reaching up, mama, daddy, please love me. And they don't have time for you. Then you create an idea that I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough. And if you have a really good parent who's maybe, perfectionistic, you come home with a 97 on your grades and they say, where's those other 3 points? And
hmm
so you're going to work so hard, try to find love, to get that love. Now, of course, when you have that program, guess what you're going to do? You're going to take it in your relationships. You take it to school, you take it to college, you take it to wherever you go, feeling that I'm never good enough. Or if only I tried harder, or try to be perfect, makeup perfect, the hair's perfect, everything trying to be perfect. And you can't do that because the world's too big. Or you have a psychotic crazy dad or crazy mom, alcoholic, multiple personalities. And for you, you got to try to keep yourself together or protect the siblings, whatever it is, you learn programs.
hmm
Now you find this guy, or this girl, depending on who you are, male or female. You're going to find one. I remember this girl. I don't remember what her first name is, but this is her story. Her friends kept trying to get her to come and see me to help her with her stuff. And of course, she said, I don't trust men. Men are unsafe, right?
Yes.
And so finally, her friends brought her to the session and they were there. And she said, well, there are no good men on earth. When I was in California, I dated rich man, poor man, fat man, skinny man, midget man, giant man, rich man, poor man. They're all bad. I go, interesting, right? And I go, well, just tell me about your life and your world. She said, oh, I had a really great life until mom divorced.
Mm.
And then she said, this new dad came into my life, stepdad, right? And she goes, there's not one day went by he didn't say something bad about me every day. And I kept record of it. I kept record on the calendar, everything he said bad. And of course, at 16, she got her ticket out. Of course, remember, we learn who we are by what we experience, and we develop skills and talents to survive. Right.
hmm
So again, she's writing down every bad thing. Now, by the way, when you go to school, they write on the chalkboard the alphabet and you learn how to write your name. Or you do, the multiplication tables. 5 times 5 is pops right in, 25. So all these years of practicing and noting everything bad, she finds this guy and she leaves. Her savior has finally got there. And of course, at 16, it was a release. He got away from it. But here's the problem. All her trainings on how to have a relationship built on her number one emotional trainer, which is her stepdad. Guess who she was when she went into the next relationship?
Mm.
She was
Herself.
him.
Yes.
She perfected this art of finding something wrong with this partner. Now, this guy was a good guy. He was a doctor, medical doctor. And of course, he too comes from his world. Obviously, for him to be able to put up with something like this, he had to be familiar with that, which, by
Yes.
the way, he also had a mother just like that. So now it's a perfect match made in hell or heaven.
Right.
So he tolerated that for 16 years and the divorce occurred.
Hmm.
And she tried to date and she realized, I hate that I'm so much like this. By the way, she's been practicing, rehearsing for years. So then she says, I'm not going to do this. And so guess what she finds? Someone like she was, like her stepdad. So now she has a bossy, controlling, manipulator, fault finder. And now she's playing the other role. So in our minds, we learn from our environment, and we have two players. These are parents. The relationship becomes an emotional training on how to have relationships. All right. So she got the controller, the griper, the complainer, and we got the submissive one. So we have two roles to play.
Right.
So they'll flip and flop. So at one point she goes, it must be men. So she went to the other side. And guess what? The women were the same.
Right.
They were the
Wow,
same shit.
exactly. Yes. Wow. So what you're saying is look within, clean up
Well,
what's going on inside of you
well,
first.
that sounds good, Crystal. I mean, really, how are you going to do that? I mean, I've tried 31 different therapies. I went to ayahuasca, I puked and shit all of myself, had a spiritual experience. I rebirthed 4 times, and I walk across coals 12 times with Anthony Robbins.
Right.
Still have this problem.
Yeah.
So the deep part that most systems out there do not know how to do is change the number one cause of our problems. The number one cause of our problems are not really problems at all, but successful outcomes. Because when you're a little kid, you're in the university of life and you're watching the teachers, mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, grandma. You watch them and you're learning how to have relationships. And the
Hmm.
only way to have something different, you got to change the trainers inside your head. These are
Yeah.
trainings.
Yes,
And that's the key.
exactly.
So if you can't change memories, you can't change your parents inside your head, even though they're dead and gone, to understand the mechanics of the mind, we're trauma. I know we talk about trauma. I'm a trauma expert, and I understand the mechanics of the mind. So now, so you could have sisters, twin sisters, they have the same parents, the same experiences, but yet they act totally different. And the difference that makes a difference between the two is how they internalize what happened. It's not what they did to you or not what you witnessed that caused you the problems. Your parents didn't screw you up. They educated you and you took that education. So your brain took it, internalized it, and now it's going to use it without you thinking. They said, let your heart pick. It does, every one of them. You keep picking what you're familiar with, and you do. So, in order to change your relationships, you got to change you. Now, the relationships are designed based on your reaction, your internalizations, and your perceptions, and so this is how the mechanics of it works. We're learned to have our problems, which are successful, undesirable outcomes. Even though we complain about it, we still do it. This is an age-old problem. It's even in the Bible. Even Paul says, "My
Mhm.
spirit is willing, but my flesh, my body won't let me." So what he's saying, I'd like to be a nice guy. I'd like to do the right thing. I'd like to have a good man or a good woman in my life, but my programming, my body, my unconscious says it's not safe.
I don't think so.
It's not familiar.
Right, exactly. And in the beginning of the podcast, I explained the description of a marriage who, in this marriage relationship that, they're not talking, they're not communicating. And recently I spoke with someone who was ready to throw in the towel on her marriage.
Mhm.
And I got to sit with her, I got to talk with her about it. And she was ready for casual hookups. That was her solution. She was ready to go and start the casual hookups, and the millennials call it Netflix and chill. That's the new way to say it. So,
Netflix and chill.
yes,
When I
okay.
grew up, they call it friends with benefits.
Okay. Yes. I'm not a very good millennial, but I am. But that's what it's called, Netflix and chill. Anyway, she was ready to start the hookups, but what she didn't realize is that she was carrying these inner demons, this inner world, her
Mhm.
emotional patterns everywhere she's going to go. And
Mhm.
so I told her she would keep on attracting the same kind of relationship, and the same kind of pain, the same kind of experiences.
Mhm.
So, Robert, why do we keep attracting partners who will trigger the same pain?
Well, the common denominator of the world, the woman I was talking about earlier, is herself.
Yes.
We translate, interpret the world. We give the same meaning that we're familiar with, and the meanings are learned. So, how you're in, you jump out of the frying pan, jump into the fire. You're not getting any better. And people said, "Well, should I leave your relationship?" And I said, "Are they physically harming you? Are they really beating you up?" I would say, definitely protect yourself and your children, right? But if
Yes.
it's just an emotional thing, you can work on you. And I say, do not leave your partner until you heal yourself. Now, of course, when I say that, most of the caller listeners here do not know how to heal themselves. And by the way, you're not sick. Let me just say that first of all. So, what I'm saying is update how you translate the world. Now, again, our translator was built from the birth onwards and how we perceive and translate how we feel, how we see things. And of course, my system is changing memories, updating memories to where you're going to operate better. Now, if you look at, now we're talking about conscious, get conscious out of the way. Let's look at like mechanics of the mind. To the brain, picking the same person over and over again is normal. It's not bad. It's picking what you're familiar with. It's a survival system. So if you come from a chaotic world, you're going to find chaos because it's part of your training. It's part of your jungle you came from. So mechanically, you're picking what you know, you're picking what you're familiar with. Even though you say you hate it, you still do it. It's like the love-hate relationship, but yet your parents did it, your grandparents did it. Jesus says, let the dead bury their dead because they don't know what the hell they're doing. So you're doing something over and over again and wondering why you're so messed up. And then they get to this point, says, my picker is broken. It keeps picking the same
Yes.
one. I said, it's not broken, it's just perfecting the art of what you're familiar with. And if you
Yes.
don't like what you're picking, you have to change the trainings that you learn, which basically, if you don't know how to do this, I'll teach you how. By the way, guys, if you like my content and it does make sense and make logical sense and it's practical, subscribe. Take my free course at skillsofchange.com. You need something better than what you've been chasing. This will change your life. So if you're picking the same thing, it's because you're familiar. And then there's a polarity opposite. We got, damned if I do, damned if I don't. That's the system. If I get a relationship, I'm going to be abused. If I don't have a relationship, I feel neglected and abandoned. You still got the problem. And so if you have these relationships, what you want to do is, I say, go change the programming in your mind. Now, let me just remind you, memories are just recordings of something you witness outside you. Now, if you remember an abusive moment or experience, when you remember it, it feels real now. I call that a hypnotic trance, a state of mind. And by the way, you're driven by emotions. Emotions make you do stupid things and good things. But so if you go inside your mind and you adjust the references, like if you see mom and dad fighting, you see them fighting ever since you were a child, they always fought. Guess what you're going to do? This is how to have a relationship. Now, by the way, there is one variable you have to really be aware of is how we translate, interpret, and the direction we should choose to go. Like when I was a kid, when I grew up, we moved every year, every 2 years, every year, every 2 years, we always moved. And so when I was a kid, I said, when I grow up, my kids are going to go to one school. Now I made a positive decision. I'm going to give my kids something I wanted. And you know what? All my children, all three of them, they went to the same school, graduated the same high school as I did. Of course, I was 15. I moved in with my grandmother. I went to Mustang, Oklahoma, Mustang High School. They all went to Mustang and graduated there. So I made a decision based on the pain, but the pain and the decision was a direction to go and do something better. Most people don't do that. They accept the trauma as trauma. They accept it as a part of life. It becomes a part of their identity and value system.
Yep.
And so that's what we're working on. That's what
Yeah.
we're working on, is solving that riddle. And so
Yes.
there's two polarity opposites, the woman who, and I worked with her, she came in and we started cleaning up the traumas that she experienced, all her traumas. And she said, there's this guy at work, he really likes me, but he's not my type. And you know why? Because he wasn't like what she's familiar with.
Right.
It was breaking the rules. It didn't feel comfortable.
Right.
It didn't feel comfortable. So I started working and addressing her fears. And one of the things I cleaned up this idea saying, it's safe to be loved and it's safe to be appreciated. And then all of a sudden, she gets married, she lives with this guy, and she came to my seminar. She said, I'm 51 years old. Never in my life have I ever felt loved until now.
Wow.
But let me just pause here. Is it love picking the same abuser? Is it love picking the same experiences over and over again to your unconscious mind?
Hmm. Yeah, that's
You know what
survival.
the answer, you know what the answer is?
It is love.
Is it love? Yes. Now, again, most people don't understand what love is. It's not the gushy feeling. Love is another word for survival to keep you alive and familiar. So when you date and find the wrong person who's just like your stepdaddy or your mama, that's a form of survival and it's also a form of love. Now, most people don't really understand the programming of this, but
Mhm.
I do. So this is what we're doing. We're cleaning up the internal world.
Yeah, and I love it when you show me how all the puzzle pieces fit together. So when you work with Robert in a session, you will see why you do what you do. You will notice how it fits into your relationship. And I love seeing that stuff because it's so eye-opening and I understand myself better. I understand my husband better. So this work, it's eye-opening. It's there's so much liberty in it, and you have a choice. Like, do you want to keep this programming, or do you want to let go of it? Do you want to change it? You
Updated.
can decide how you can decide how you want to build your life or rebuild your life, depending on where you are right now in your life.
Yeah, just to add a little piece to this that makes it different. It's logically understanding all that doesn't change anything.
True.
Insight therapy has been going on for centuries. Insight therapy is typical talk therapy. Well, of course, it says it will dig around in your childhood, we'll figure out why you're so messed up. Once you figure out why, maybe you won't be so messed up. And you know what? Logic doesn't change memories. So
Mhm.
what makes it easy is, and because when I do sessions, I mean, I'm deep, I'm thorough, and I go inside. We help you go inside. We help make peace within yourself. When logically, the past is over, but when you're in a memory of something in the past, it feels real. Logic goes out the window because neurologically it overrides consciousness. We have like 30% consciousness, but the rest of it is smarter than consciousness unless you educate yourself and knowing how to drive the smarter part. So
Wow.
logic is one, but neurologically updating it. So when we start changing your memories and we start updating them, then all of a sudden you go, wow, I see it how it all fits.
Hmm.
It all makes sense. But yet we're so blinded to it.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So there's a lot of people asking this question, Robert. And so I want to get your perspective on this. So when is a relationship worth saving and when is it time to walk away?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Now, most people who will ask that question are suffering. They're in pain.
Yes.
Now, their
Yeah.
suffering and pain may be dictated from their own personal childhood, right?
Hmm.
And also the partner they pick resembles somebody in their past, or maybe not. It could be just a new crazy experience. And so my thinking is heal yourself first. Now, like I said earlier, if they're hurting you, physically abusing you, you need to walk away. Now, there
Yes.
are players in our life. And so if you're used to, if a lot of people say, well, my parents are narcissistic. I said, first of all, parenthood is narcissistic. That's how it works. Religions are narcissistic. Now, when you think about it, here it is, your child, and who's responsible for this child to grow up to be a good person? You. And if you heard this saying, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out, these are tactics. And so, And why do they do what they do? Now, narcissism, everybody, in my opinion, has narcissistic traits and trainings. Not everyone uses them. And some people who are really good, very malignant, very abusive, have trainings to be that way because of how they were raised. And you find a wounded child inside. And so they have this two-sided coin, you know? And so if you have someone who's abusive, and if you're married to one of these guys or you're dating one of these guys, you know, or girls, guys, girls, I use guys in general, you can look in the windows of their life and you can see they've been through a lot of crap.
Hmm.
But again, will they change? They could
Yeah.
if they're willing to go down and clean up those references. Now, just like people on this call, and even you and even me, there's certain areas that we'll get scared to go to because it's emotionally rich. And so they can be changed, but here's the problem. You tried therapies after therapies after therapies, and you're still just as jacked up when you started. Less money. You had a few good experiences with people. You know, the buffets are nice and the feel goods after did your ayahuasca. Oh my God, I'm so glad it's over. I feel spiritual, you know.
I feel so spiritual today.
The kumbaya, the sweats and the beating of the drums and burning of the problems of fire. You let them go and then you feel good and there's hugs and all that stuff. But if it doesn't change memory, if it does not change memory,
Hmm.
you're stuck. And of course, if you join groups and everybody got the same problem, you feel like you're with your family, but you're still in the family of misery.
Hmm. Yeah. And so before we looked at the statistics of marriage, and we noticed that it went down from 56% a few years ago to 51%. That's how many
Mhm,
people. So there's less people getting married and
mhm,
less people in even relationships. I
mhm.
wonder how this I wonder how this actually falls into place. Like why are there more single people? Why are there less couples today? Like, I wonder if all of this ties in. Like, relationships are hard. How about
Well,
that?
yeah.
Like, it's difficult.
Well, there's a lot of variables that could be considered. Of course, you know, back in the old days, we were trained from our religions that marriage is for life. You stick together, you hang together, and we're emotionally conditioned to do so.
Yeah.
There's some cultures that aren't so much like that. There's a lot less, you know, but there's cultural training as well. Now, again, emotional dynamics, emotional links, and conditionings play a big role in a relationship as well. And then also there is the feel good society becoming more and more available. We get programmed by our TV shows and stuff about, you know, whatever it is that we get liberalized, you know. I personally believe in marriage. I personally believe in relationships. I like being in relationships. To
Hmm.
me, that I'm a connecting type person. You know, when I do sessions, I connect with your mind, your heart, your thoughts, and I go and help you clean up stuff and make you a better person. I'm a bit shy as well. You know, I have my shyness, my quietness, you know, but everybody has their own programming. So why does this happen? Because one, here it is, you think about it. Like, say, for example, we come from an environment, emotionally abusive mother, right? Now, a lot of people say, well, like Crystal, you're a girl and you're going to marry someone like your dad. Or if you're a man, you'll marry someone like your mother. And that's not necessarily true. Most likely, you will attract the person who fits your inner world. Your inner world is designed and sticks out loudly are the abuses and traumas. So that means if say you're a female and your abuser is your mother really hard and with on you, and you don't want to be like her, so you'll end up finding someone like her, but it's a male version.
Right. I can see that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and like some people, they're really good. They got two messed up parents, and they take both of them in. And you know, we have a part that's called reticular formation. We bring into focus what we're familiar with. So they have to sort through all the other ones to find that one that will supply you with your emotional needs, which is the hurts and the pains what you're familiar with. So people will get in a relationship and they get hurt and they tired to get hurt and they go pick another one that happens to be same thing or worse and it compounds and they get to the point, you know, said, screw this, I'd rather be alone, but they still have the hurt alone, you know.
Hmm.
So, you know, I've experienced this too. And, you know, I work with relationships all the time. And I look at myself and I had really recent, really very bizarre relationship. And I go, how in the hell did I allow this to happen? And I know how. Because again, I asked my kids, what kind of dad was I? You were the no man, everything was no.
Oh, okay.
I think I don't remember any of that stuff because it's over.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was the no man. So, and obviously when I grew up, no was the answer, you can't have,
Right.
So again, um, with our relationships, we have what you call emotional imprint, an emotional imprint. That means sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. Neither one are bad to the unconscious. It's just what is. And
Mhm.
so we have a tendency to pick the same type of person. Like, say, for example, there's a lot of stories with this. Like the one lady, she says, I just don't understand why I keep dating alcoholics. Nobody on my parents' side, no one on my mom or dad's side, neither one are alcoholics. None of them. What is it about me of being attracted to alcoholics? And of course, I have no idea. So we started working on her feelings about alcoholics. And of course, when you date alcoholics, you get a new world of
Yeah.
emotional craziness,
Hmm.
different styles and ways if you're not familiar with it. And then all of a sudden, she goes, a memory pops in her mind, something she actually never recalled until now. And that is, she remembers going to like a Christmas party or family gathering, and she just loves her grandpa. And she sat on Grandpa's lap, and and she's feeling love with Grandpa, but Grandpa just had a little taste of wine. Feeling love, she smelt that wine, the smell of alcohol. All of a sudden, love and alcohol linked together.
Yeah.
Now she's a young teenager, teens or 20s, whatever. She's out dancing, nice guy, and she smells. All of a sudden, the love feeling pops in.
Hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, she has love, has this feeling of love, and alcoholics became a part of her love program. Not even consciously knowing it's linked, not even knowing it's linked whatsoever. And then as we started cleaning up, I said, well, let's clean this alcohol love feeling. She said, no, 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 I don't want you to take my love. I said, first of all, there's no love in alcohol.
Right. Yeah.
The love is for your grandfather who is loving and kind. And that's how we do with cookies, bakes,
Right.
chocolates. All of these are linked to emotions. People think that they find love and feel love when they eat chocolate. And there's no love in it. Read the ingredients. But the reason is you're emotionally conditioned. So that's how relationships are. Like say, for example, I'm using you, even though it's not you. Say, for example, your dad had blue eyes. You love your dad. Your dad was a nice guy. Or maybe your grandpa had blue eyes and really nice guy. Or you loved your brother or somebody else with blue eyes. And the blue eyes just make you feel good, right? So you're out there in the world and you see this really gorgeous man or woman with blue eyes.
Mm.
Now your attraction to feeling is associated to a specific color and you're translating it based on your internal world. But the problem is this person is going to bring a new world that you never knew existed.
Mm.
Let's say he or she comes from a crazy world.
Right.
And when you start dating them at first, they don't share the crazies yet.
Mhm.
They wait until you've got hooked, reeled in, and you're
Right.
deeply involved. Then
Hmm.
all of a sudden they start sharing and belittling you, harming you,
Hmm.
trying to destroy you, get rid of your friends, torment you, blame you, guilt you, and wear you down.
Wow. All of that, well, that was all red flags.
But
Everything you said.
here's the bizarre thing. I mean, I personally experienced this.
Okay, but then
That-
did you, like, for the people listening, did you, like, these are the red flags. Like, people are in a relationship, they're listening to us,
Yeah, yeah.
they're
But, but
experiencing
here,
those
but
things.
here's the problem with the red flags. If you go in and you feel love, and that love feeling, we create an imprint of what we want. We have this image of the relationship we want based on your past, and this overlays
Yeah.
what's actually seeing happening in front of you. So here it is.
Wow.
In the beginnings, they're gonna love you up. They're gonna, you know,
Wow.
best sex in the world, cookies, take you out on dates, buy you gold, buy you jewelry, and the love feelings that says, "Oh, I'm really special, really, really special." But slowly they start dripping in their lifestyle. And so here it is. You're still holding on to the image. You're still holding on to your emotional training, this imprint. And that's what a drug addict will do. That's what a
Right.
gambler will do. They have the win, they feel good, and yet they're being abused. But they
Yes.
don't want to see that. They want to hold on to their dream.
Right.
And it starts getting worse and worse and worse. And now you're depressed. You're gaining weight. You feel like you have nobody. It's because they wore you down. They wore you down and destroyed you because this
Right.
is, this is who they are. By the way, this, for them, this is normal. The guy who's, or the girl or the guy, this is normal because you know why? That's what mom did to them. That's what their dad did to them. That's what their brother did to them. That's what their twin sister did to them. So they get this education on how to take control. And by the way, what drives them is their own pain and hurt, their own insecurities, and they don't want you to leave them, so they're going to wear you down so you won't leave them and you only need them. Very
Wow.
typical extreme narcissist.
Right.
So, so it,
So, so what
yeah.
do you do when you're entering, let's say you're entering a brand new relationship, okay? Because now,
Mhm.
let's say you're entering a brand new relationship, then
Mhm.
we really do have to start looking at behaviors of language.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
watch their behavior,
yeah,
notice what you're
yeah,
noticing, but you're saying also there's the flip coin on this is they're
yeah.
gonna love you up.
They love you up. They butter you up. They roll you on both sides, and you feel like you're great. But
Yeah.
slowly, the poison starts to sink in. Because remember, you're high from the feel goods, and then you're willing to tolerate the feel bads because you're still focused on the feel goods. And over time, I've worked with so many people who had this experience. This one lady's very intelligent woman, very successful woman, internationally known, and this gorgeous man, stalked her, hunted her down, dated her, and married her. And while he was with her, he slowly started dribbling the poisons to her friends and her family with lies and slowly alienated her from her friends and alienated her from her family and slowly started doing this and started saying, "You're crazy. I didn't do that." The gaslight. So they said,
Oh.
the gaslight. I didn't ever said that. You're
So
making stuff up. Yeah.
it just, yeah, describe or define what gaslighting is for people to understand that.
Well, basically, they're lying to you. You say, sir, for example, they said you're retarded or something. And
Okay.
then you call out. I said, I never said that. You're lying. You have this weird fantasy in your head. They
Right.
start belittling you, saying there's something wrong with you. You're crazy.
Hmm.
They also rescript stories. Rescripting is like, I've experienced this. So you had this great experience. You did something, or something happened, or they did something, and you call it out and said, and they tell you they never happened. They gave you a whole new story, a total different story.
Wow.
And then you go, you must have been drinking too much that day or something. They start to make you doubt yourself.
Right. You question your reality.
And
Hmm.
the things you love, the things you're really good at, they start finding fault with it.
Ooh.
So, and then again, what I personally experience is that all your friends and family members, they start dribbling the poison, and then they start saying stuff about you, and then they don't have anything to do with your friends, your colleagues, your students, your family. They start telling lies, and some of these women and men are the greatest actors. They're usually the preachers up front. They're usually the great communicators. They're the pretty one. They're the smart one. The paint heavy is on their face.
Hmm.
Not all of them, just the ones who do. And they start doing this to wear you down. And so here it is. You're a kind person. You come from a good family. You're a good person, and you get sucked into your own current trances of relationship. Then over time they wear you down. Over time, of course, they keep you fat and happy so you won't leave them, or they give you a bunch of children so you can't escape, or you're so deaded and you're so scared of this person if you do divorce them and leave them because they've
Yes.
already threatened you, they've already harmed you, they already scared you, and you're
Hmm.
stuck in a trap.
Yeah. And people that are listening to us, they're stuck in a trap. There are
Yeah,
listeners. We've
yeah,
talked to them. And
yeah.
so when someone sees their partner, let's say that their partner, and we can talk more about the gaslighting if you want to, but if they are living with this partner
Mhm.
and they say, oh, yeah, I'll change.
Hmm.
but they never do anything to change. What is their behavior communicating?
Yeah, but you have to understand. Let's say, and I've heard this story a million times.
Yeah.
Like a person I know personally, she's had bad relationships, narcissistic, abusive, because she comes from one, and she found this guy who's a safe guy. He's safe, and he was safe, and he still is safe, but she's in this relationship, but he's not very physically, emotionally affectionate, right? So now, in the beginning, they gave her what she wanted. Gave her what she wanted. She's safe and she's free to do her stuff. But over time, she starts to want to get closeness. And you know what? He's like this. No. And now she's healing and changing, but he's not.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, now we have a problem. At first, it was working out well because he
Right.
supplied a need. But later on in age, she says, well, I'd like to make love. I'd like to have sex. I'd like to have somebody spend time with me physically. And of
Hmm.
course, this guy's the same. He hadn't changed.
Mm.
And I got a phone call from a lady, and she goes, I need your help. I need to know what to do with my husband. I said, is he alive?
What did you
Maybe
do with
bury a
him?
body somewhere. She says, yeah, he's alive. I said, well, what's the problem? He says, well, we've been married for 28 years. He's an alcoholic, and I don't know what to do. So he's got this problem, right? And I said, well, okay. And he says, we need counseling. I said, great. This is how I do counseling. I don't see you together because each person in the relationship has their own world and their own emotional issues. They do.
Hmm.
And then, of course, when they collide, I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to write down every bad thing he's ever did, ever said, ever done, every possible miserable experience you've ever had. And even in your childhood, if you had other people who played the same role, write them down. Now have him do the same thing. Write a list of everything that he doesn't like about you, everything you said, everything you did, etc. All right. And I said, I'll see you on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Right. So
Hmm.
she comes in, and so I'm working on this list of all the things she doesn't like about him, every pain, every hurt, every miserable thing, because she's trying to figure out, do I divorce him or what do I do? And of
Hmm.
course, I don't tell people to do that. And so
Right.
what I do is I go and I clean all these memories up. At the end of the 2 hour session, she goes, I still don't know what to do with him. I said, I understand. She said, I feel like I waste my time. I don't know what to do with him. I said, I understand. I can get ready to work with him. Next week, we'll go a little bit deeper. Right. So she's gone, and I go out to get him, and he wasn't there. I came back 20 minutes later, he wasn't there. 30 minutes later, he wasn't there, so I took a nap. The following week, she shows up. The first thing she said, oh my God, he completely changed. Now, who changed? She did. She
Right.
had these dirty sunglasses. Now, by the way, he's
Right.
always drank. He drank when he married her. She knew that. And
Hmm.
so what happens is her perception of him changed. Now, let me just say this to be all quite frank. If you have a dog and every time you walk in the door, you kick the dog, eventually, you know what's happened to that dog? That dog's going to be drinking beer with his buddies at the local bar
Hmm.
because
True.
we impact people around us with our attitude. So
Hmm.
what has happened is her perception changed, her attitude changed, which impacts the relationship. Even though he didn't seek any therapy, his best therapy was to run.
Hmm. So that was his coping strategy in the
Yeah.
marriage.
Oh yeah. And by the way, he's always drank.
Mhm.
And the problem is that we distort the world. Now, let's say you have a partner who he's not into self-help. And he
Mhm.
doesn't have to be. You can still grow and still love this person without judging him. Now, that's the biggest problem.
Mm.
We
Okay.
judge and criticize and condemn because we learn to do that from your parents
Right.
or from your religions.
Right. So you are saying in regards to someone like we're talking about the husband, but it could be either or.
Yeah,
Let's
it's either one.
Yeah, that let's say the husband, his behavior is showing, his behavior is a language and it's showing I'm
Mhm.
not doing anything to change. I can talk like I'm changing.
Well, here's the truth. Let me just pause you. They want to, they wish to, they miss one piece.
What
How?
is Oh.
Wow.
Okay,
Now remember this. I want you to think about it. If you,
interesting.
it's like you guys, some of you guys may try diets and you want to lose weight, right?
Hmm.
And the diet says no carbohydrates. Now, logically, you say, okay, I
Right.
want to lose my weight. I want to.
Yes.
And next thing you know, the donut bell rings and the fresh
Right.
bread rings. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
fresh bread, you're eating the donuts. And you know why? It's because in your brain, you have programs.
Yeah.
Carbohydrate equals mama's love. Carbohydrate equals friends and friendships. Carbohydrate represents a family. And so
Yeah.
consciously, you're going to try to lose the weight by being mentally in control. But the emotional system makes you do the weird stuff.
Hmm.
And that's that little piece that Paul said, I want to, but
Right.
inside me, the programmer makes me do what I don't want to do.
Yeah, yeah. So people really do need to they need to learn how to use their own brain. They need to understand their brain. They need to understand the mechanics that you teach and
Mhm.
you can change yourself. It is
Mhm.
necessary. This is not it should be a requirement, Robert. I mean, not that
Well,
I want to add more rules and laws to people, but like it's so necessary. If you want a manual for your brain, there is one.
yeah, yeah, I
You
have one.
can
I have it.
learn.
Yeah.
You have it exactly.
Yeah.
You created it. It's already done.
Yeah.
We don't have to try to recreate another wheel. It's already done.
Mm. I created this system. I put it together.
Yeah.
I'm the mastermind behind it. Now it's like the guy who created Reese's peanut butter cup. They didn't make peanut butter. They didn't make peanut butter. They didn't invent chocolate. You put together, you create an operating system. I have an amazing operating system, and you get measurable results. And the good thing about what I teach, no one dies because of it. There's no spiritual anything. It's just mental mechanics. You do this, you do this, you get that. I'm very practical at that. It is spiritual if you're spiritual, and if it's mechanical, it's mechanical. It's just logical. And I know that this works. It'll change your life. It's changed my life. It's improved me tremendously. It changes people's lives every day because it's about how to take control of the self. To know thyself is what they all say. Basically, what they're saying is know what you do inside yourself. Know how you represent things. Notice what you're using to make yourself feel bad or good. And use mental mechanics to adjust your life.
Hmm.
The number one cause of all problems is perception. Perception and the internalization of the world.
Hmm.
All problems are successful outcomes. They're not problems, they're just outcomes to the unconscious. Consciously, we don't like it. But the bad thing is, some people say, I got the saboteur within. And the truth is, there is no saboteur within. Within you is a survival system. The saboteur is ignorant consciousness. And you're
Yeah.
fighting against the smartest part about you. So if you
Hmm.
make peace and know the mechanics of the mind, you can create anything. Think about it. You create some pretty amazing, miserable stuff. It takes a
Right.
lot of work.
Yes. That's so good. So then let's talk about eutaptics in regards to how does it support people in creating healthier relationships? What can eutaptics do to help people do that?
Well, eutaptics is a philosophy of life, first of all. Secondly, it understands the mechanics of what your mind does, and it also gives you skills, processes, and techniques to be in control of your mental world. It's basically emotional intelligence 101. What we can do with this, I work with the worst possible things you could ever imagine, from severe traumas, complex PTSDs, to the simplest little fear of something. Little something. So basically, it's the mechanics of the mind. It's not I say it's not a belief system, but you got to believe in using a car to get across town. You have to believe in something that works if it works. And if it doesn't work, I always ask, why didn't it work? And what are you doing inside your head that keeps it from working?
Hmm.
It's internal. It's very mathematical. So what is it? I teach you, I show you how to be the master of your own thoughts in your mind, in your world. People need that. People are so manipulated by the external forces and from their internal forces. They live their life based on the past.
Hmm.
Again, if you change your past, you change your future. And some people say, you can't change memories. I said, I can, and you can, but you don't know how.
Hmm.
Memories are not stuck real and permanent because what you have inside your mind is your personalized history. You personalize these events and you give them meanings. You could have five siblings. So we have the siblings around the table. And we're talking about how bad our dad was, the first four. And the other said, he wasn't like that. You're lying. And you know what?
Right. Yeah.
Because they had a different dad. Dad seasoned up a little bit. We have different memories and references. You
Very
can all
true.
go to the same movie and five people love it, three didn't like it, and they have a
Right.
problem, you know?
Yes. Yeah. I didn't like that little thing on the screen.
Hmm. Hmm. And I'm in Dover, the UK, and of course I'm in this amazing hall with all these paintings that have been there hundreds of years. And I was just enthralled. I said, wow, I'm doing a seminar in this building. It's so cool. And one
Wow.
lady said, how do you feel with all this negative energy around you? I go, is it you?
I
I
don't
said, I said, I
know.
don't see any negative energy. You know, I do, a lot of energy people like me, and I'm entertained by them. I had a friend who's a very energy person, and I let her stay at my house. I was out of the country. And she goes, well, I smudged your house. I go, what does that mean? Well, I got to stay sage out. I did all the corners to get all the negative spirits out. I said, you know, the funny thing, when I was there, I never saw any of them. They were never there. You must have brought them with you because it's a part of her belief system.
Hmm.
So it is what you believe to be true is true. I want you to listen to that. What you believe to be true is true for you.
That's right. And our brain has the capacity to even create it.
Mm-hmm.
And we experience it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's called, have you ever woke up from a nightmare? It sure felt real, but you know, elephants don't fly.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Because I've seen fairies. So my brain has the capacity to hallucinate.
And
So
then
I,
you need a nice fly swatter to get those suckers. They bite you at night when you can hear them buzzing around, but you can't see them.
okay. So anyway, let's, all right. I'm very visual, so I've got all these pictures happening right now.
Oh, very good.
All right.
Berry
So,
sandwiches with ketchup taste good too.
oh, no, no. Those little fairies. No, no thanks. All right. So for the person who, because we're talking about eutaptics now, and for the person who has tried tapping and they've tried it, I'm not getting results tapping, what would you say to that person?
Well, first of all, tapping is not going to solve your problems. You can use it to address the real problem, and the real problem is memories. If you don't know how to address memories, you don't understand the inner structure of your mind. If I got $1 every time someone said, I've been tapping for weeks, I get no results, and of course, the EFT style is a blocked energy system. Mine isn't. Mine's a memory system. And somebody said, I've been using FasterEFT, I'm not getting any results. I said, first of all, FasterEFT is not about tapping. We just use it as one of the tools. It's
Mhm.
about how you process, internalize memories. You update the memories, you're going to get a change. So that's the biggest difference. So what I show you is how to know yourself, know what you're doing within yourself, and how to make adjustments. Now,
Mhm.
like I said, I've worked with people with really big stuff, physical traumas, sexual traumas, war memories, death memories, beatings and abuses. And the nice thing I say to them, I said, listen, it's over. It's not real today. But the brain captured it, internalized it, and used it on them. And so I said, let's just make peace with your head.
Mhm.
The event's over and just update how you represent things.
Right. Yeah. I'm curious. What are people doing when they're tapping and it doesn't work for them? Like what are they doing? What do they say they're doing? Like let it go? Are they just going through the script?
Well, the key, let's move tapping out of the way first. First of all, the key to updating memories is you got to identify the memory. You got to pick an aspect. Now, memories have thousands of pieces to it. Now, again, if we look at the limbic operating system, which is how memories are encoded, the limbic will use sounds, sensations, images, smells, and taste. So the brain will encode an external event and put it inside you. And however it's encoded, you decode it by changing the aspects and parts of it. But you have to aim it. Now, you do have to understand when you go to a bad memory or a good memory, it feels real. So, memories, if you got a really bad memory, it's got a lot of emotional juice, it's very difficult to use tapping to get you out of it because the memory is very loaded. It's
Hmm.
big. And if you had lots of therapies or repeating traumas, they compound into a really big one.
That's it right there too. Hmm.
So there's a lot of variables, and it's simple,
Yes.
but there are some complexity. Now, guys, if you have big stuff, don't try to do it yourself. Let me help you do it. I'll change your life. I know how I've been doing the biggest stuff. Now, when we talk about all the memories and adjusting memories, you have to understand your children are watching you.
Hmm.
They're learning by what you do. They're learning by what you say. They're learning by how you act. They're learning machines and they're going to follow in your footsteps. If you have children, especially adult children, have you noticed that they sometimes marry the person that you don't like, which resembles your father or your ex-husband? Because this is an operating system. Now, if you want to impact your children, like we have a girl named China. She's 34 years old. I think 34 years old. And she's got four children. And the youngest one is less than 6 months, around 6 months old. And she'd come from a really rough childhood. Both of her parents were drug addicts. And they've had some really bad trainings. She's had some bad exposure and bad trainings. And she's been working my system and cleaning up stuff, getting rid of her fears and phobias, getting rid of her father's triggers, getting rid of any physical and emotional sexual abuses, whatever they were. She's cleaned up, and now when her children are acting, she's not responding like her parents did because she updated her memories. So now she's a different mother. So these kids are going to grow up to be a different system than where she came from. Now we operate from our trainings and we pass it on to the next generations.
Hmm.
My oldest son, his name's Adam, and of course, unfortunately, I didn't start working on myself to he's probably 9, but he said, Dad, you are my best friend. You became my best friend. You were my enemy at one time, because I was the bad dad, and I had reasons because I had my own badness from my dad. And so I started working on me, which changed my relationship with them. And he's got 3 children. And he says, Dad, I use this all the time. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me from blowing up. It keeps me from taking things so personal. And so he's a better dad than I ever was. Because, well, I mean, I got better because I didn't know how I did at the time. I
Right.
just I just passed down the gauntlet from one generation to the next.
Hmm.
So, teaching your children to be emotionally intelligent, and he works on his kids. He taps on his kids. He
Hmm.
doesn't force it. If they want it, he helps them. If they don't, they don't. I mean, he's respectful
Hmm.
because some
That's
people
good.
don't want to change. They're
Mm.
afraid to go there because it's scary.
Hmm.
But you still can impact them by changing you.
Yeah. Yeah. That is such a gift to be able to change the family dynamics and what you pass down. It's
Yeah.
such a gift.
Well, we do it anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So we may as well make it better.
Yeah.
So I'm going to fire off some questions that people
Okay.
are asking online. Here's the first question. What really makes a relationship healthy?
The relationship, every relationship is as healthy as the weakest one. So you could have a healthy person, and then the other one is not so healthy, and it does impact. But the healthy one can impact them. So, and by the way, there's no unhealthy relationships. They're just relationships.
Mm,
Because again, like somebody said, I come from a dysfunctional family. I said, well, your family functioned. It functioned so well, you went and found another one just like it. And if you're really good, you compound it and make it worse. So
yeah.
it's only as healthy as the players in it. They do evolve. Like China, she said, well, I've been working on myself and my husband's changing. He's not getting
Mm,
sessions. I am. So the healthy one can help pull, encourage, and it will impact everyone involved. Now, it could be the other way around. The more dominant, unhealthy one can impact the other person. And, I always say don't leave the relationship because, at one point you may want to leave. Then it's based on hurt.
hmm.
And they asked me, should I leave? I said, if they're not harming you, use them to heal you. When they trigger you, you clean yourself up. When they do something, you clean themselves up. When you see them, you think about it, you have negative feelings, you clean that up. As you do that, you're going to heal. And as you heal, you're going to respond differently.
Yeah.
They will follow the responses.
Yeah. Exactly. That's great. That's such great advice.
And
And
it works. It works.
exactly. Yes. And that leads us to the second question. How can you tell when a relationship has reached its endpoint?
Well, I guess when it's really harmful, dangerous, miserable,
Yes.
and you've had enough. Because here's the fact. If you have an abusive wife or abusive husband, and they fully justify their abuse and it's part of their tradition, their life, and if you get tired of it and you can't solve it, protect yourself, pack your bags, be smart, because if you're dealing with an extreme narcissist,
Oh
everyone's
boy.
narcissistic, extreme one, they're mean, they're violent. They'll
Yeah.
destroy you. They'll tell everybody in the church how evil you are. They'll tell all your friends about, and they lie. They're really great, great. And there's some really, really bad ones out there. And they're only bad because they have great trainings from where they come from.
True.
And if that's not the party you want to be a part of, you got to be really smart because they will try to harm you in any way possible. And that's not all of them, just some.
Mhm.
Like I worked with this young girl. I was a friend. I was a friend with her for years. She's a really happy-go-lucky girl. I mean, she used to be a heroin addict. She's drug-free for 10, 12 years, right? And then this charming man came into her life and he played her like a fiddle, and it goes fast. The charming ones are the seductive ones. They're going to come in, swoop you off your feet, promise you this, children, travel, loving life, and the sex was the best she's ever had, she said. Now this butters you up and he slowly starts to wear her values down, slowly sort of wear her values down. She said, I'd never date someone who does drugs. He does drugs. I would never smoke. She started smoking. Yeah, I'd never deal with inappropriate sexual stuff. She started dealing with it. And she got little and little. And now she's losing her hair. She's lost weight. She's using drugs. She's smoking. And it all was slowly dwindling and wearing this poor girl out. And
Mhm.
I said, hey, listen, I even sent her videos. This is the game plan. Now, these not people who play this games, who do this, they don't go to the library and learn how to do this. It's a natural, innate survival system from their culture, from our culture. And she knows what he's doing. She can see it. But in her head, she had the picture, the dream he wrote inside of her mind. She kept going to a dry well. She comes back and feels good. He said, I found Jesus. I'm better now. He says,
Oh,
I'm in
yes.
therapy.
I've
I'm
heard
better
that
now.
one. Yeah.
And it's all a lie to get you to come back and to wear you down more.
Hmm.
It's insane. And I've seen the worst of this, and I experienced some of it for sure, personally. So again, it's just a weird system. So
Right.
when you know it's really dangerous for you, when they start
Yes.
belittling you and wear you down, when they gaslight you, they turn people, your friends don't want to have anything to do with you, and they start telling these stories and all this stuff, you're dealing with something that's really, you don't want to be a part of that. And some of them will just pack their bags and disappear because they will hunt you down. They'll try to reel you in. They'll try to suck you in. They'll try to
Yeah.
do anything to get you back just so they can wear you down again.
Yeah, and this is where they need to have a support around them. They need to have other people because
Yeah.
even if they step away, now they go into maybe even loneliness. Let's say they're alone because actually there's statistics on this that say that if you leave your spouse or a relationship,
Hmm.
the person has to leave the 7 times. Like this is statistical. Like this is what statistics say that a person would leave 7 times before they finally leave the
Late for
relationship
good.
because they get called back in,
Yeah.
whether it's a
Yeah.
woman who's hungry and she has kids to feed, or
Right.
because she feels so lonely. And oh, you know what? Maybe it wasn't that bad. And so
Right.
this is where we need to have you need to have a support team around you. You need to be, yeah, you need
Yeah.
to
I
have good
mean,
friends.
yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of this. I had my dream I was holding on to. And
Yeah.
that dream overlooked the harm and the danger. And the crazy thing is, most of the time, I didn't know anything was going on. I couldn't figure out what's going on because they play dirty pool in the background. They play dirty pool. So You got to be really smart. And again, that's the crazy thing because, the realtor that's selling the ranch I have, he just recently got married, and I gave him some good advice. I say, hey, listen, this is what I suggest you do. Get you a journal. We call it the Happy Journal. And I said, when you and your wife write down everything that's good, write down when you met. Write down the moment when you said that you're going to marry. Write down every positive experience. As you walk through your life, write down and cherish these. And when you have your baby, write it down and write how good it feels. Because sometimes if you're with normal people, I say normal people, not extreme abusive people, they are out there. And the crazy thing, if you use that journal with an extremely abusive one, it'll keep you and wear you down and destroy you. So there's got to be what you call a balancing act. Now, again, even if you have a good relation, I mean, you're with a person who's harmful, but that harmful person turns on some feel good, some things you like, and that's what keeps you sucked in. You think it's them, but it's not them, it's you. You learned something about relationship you like.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to keep the gift, but you got to separate the person. So you want to keep the feeling of love. Like somebody says, well, I loved them and they died or they left me or they cheated on me, so I'll never love again. So then they'll choose never love again because you think they took the love with them. They didn't. They brought love inside you. You stirred your own love feelings up. That's
Right.
yours, not theirs.
That's so good, Robert. That is so good. So remember that love is yours.
Yeah. Yeah. You you
I
you
love
created
that.
it, even though they stimulated it, but it's your creation and internalization. So you want to
Yes.
keep the love and build on top of that and get and learn from that experience.
Yes.
When you see the red flag, I'm going for cigarettes, and I don't. And then
I'm
you meet them, and then you meet them 3 years later, and say, "What happened to you?" Oh yeah, cigarettes. I'll see you later. Never smoke. But so what you got to do is you got to be really smart with your head. You really got to be
right.
smart, and you got to look at and because see, I saw what I wanted to see.
Yep.
I
Mm-hmm.
saw what I wanted to see, and I negated everything that was actually in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that.
Yes. I
We,
think it's common for everyone to do that.
oh yeah,
Even meeting a new person. Oh my goodness, they are so nice. And you see all the good qualities,
yeah,
but you
yeah,
don't really see the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
picture yet.
yeah. Because when they say one thing, when they do something different, pay attention to what they do, not what they say.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Action speaks louder than the words, even though we like the words.
Yes, true. But
You
behavior
gotta,
is a language.
yeah,
Watch
it's a it's
it.
it's a truthful language. And let me just be honest with you. Think about it logically. You say one thing, but your body says something different.
Mm,
You say one thing, but your body says something different. The body is the honest um, regulator. It tells the truth when the deal is our body is honest and all our body speaks the truth except for the mouth.
right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in the voice and the tone, we'll speak.
Yes, exactly. There are subtle cues that
Mhm.
that your body will still give the truth.
Mhm.
All right.
So, yeah,
Yeah. So and another question that someone has is what's the first step to rebuilding trust, especially after infidelity?
yeah, that's a good one. First of all, you got to release your pain about it. You got to release and by the way, a client came to see me, and of course, he woke up from a dream, and the dream was his wife cheated on him, right? This is a dream, a nightmare, you'd call it. And he woke up and he believed the dream to be true. Did you cheat on me? Did you cheat on me? Did you cheat on me? And they've been married for 30 years. And she said, no. And she said, well, when we first started dating, I did. Now, here it is great relationship all these years. And he had a nightmare. And so what did he do? He was a very stupid man. There's not many of them out there, but he was definitely one of them.
And
That's,
why do you say that? Why?
that's a joke.
Okay. Okay, good.
Women do it too. But so anyway, and the stupid part, what he did is he said, tell me what you did.
Ooh, oh,
And
okay.
of course, she knew it wasn't right, but she loves this guy. She'd been with him for 30 years. And she gave him details. And you know what he did? He created
Ooh.
movies in his head
Yeah,
as if he was watching them having sex.
yeah.
And he comes to me and he's really miserable. He says he hates his job. He hates his life. He hates his wife. I said, well, tell me what's going on. So he told me these stories. And he said he's got an hour to drive to work and an hour back. You know what he's doing in his head? He's watching mental porn of his wife having sex with someone else. And then he gets to work, he's pissed off, and he hates his job, and he hates his life, he hates his wife. I said, man, this is really stupid of you to do. Now, Pete, some of you guys do that. I've done it too, right?
I'm
So,
very visual, so I
so
can do that too.
yeah. So here it is. Your partner cheated on you. People do stupid things. You know, they have reasons for stupidity. Now, if they're continue doing it, if they're a liar, because some people, some people do, right? But release it, let it go, talk about it, address it, clean it up. And again, you're the one now cheating on the relationship because you're imagining them having sex again. Now, again, just be smart. Be smart.
Hmm.
You got to clean that up. Now,
Right. That's good advice.
communication is so important. Communication is so important.
Yeah.
Inner
Yeah.
communication is the most important.
So in order to so the first step for anybody to rebuild the trust is clean up your own stuff.
Clean up how you represent it, what you're doing, clean up the betrayals because most likely you could be using your past stuff to make it really bad now.
Hmm.
And the weird thing is, you really love this guy or you really love this girl, and they made a mistake. It happened. It was a bad thing.
Hmm.
And then they divorce, and she'll be miserable for the rest of her life because that was actually her soulmate in a sense. And then she's miserable, regretting and dying in her misery. So forgiveness is good.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is not saying I forgive you for what you did, but I forgive me for holding this against us.
Yes.
And speak about it, share about it, and
Yes.
open communication, and just recommit again.
That's right. So yeah, if you want to know what forgiveness is really about, we also recorded a podcast called Ultimate Forgiveness.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Another question that we have is how do you separate working through pain from just staying stuck in a relationship?
working through pain and just staying. Well, I guess staying stuck, you're not doing anything. You're just enjoying the misery. You're wallowing in it. You're repeating it and recycling it. The sad thing is about most therapies out there. If you talk about it, maybe it'll disappear, or maybe it'll fade, and usually it doesn't.
Mhm.
You can get logical understanding, but you still have the pain. So my opinion is learn how to change what hurt you, the memories inside you. Because a lot of people just, again, this is what happens. I mean, you're married. You have what, 3 kids? Isn't that right?
Yep.
You have 3 kids. Now, here's the crazy thing: you got two young people that get married, right? They're married, and you're going to bring your crap. He's going to bring his crap. And of course, like I'm gonna talk from a man's point of view. You've got this beautiful woman, and then she
Mhm.
gets pregnant, and her body starts to change. And then all of a sudden, this beautiful woman, and she has babies, and she has blood, and she has this and all that. And these become triggers for a guy. Or maybe she'll have her dog died, her parents died, and she doesn't handle it. And then, of course, this scares some men and some women too. So you got to be able to diffuse the emotions. For a guy, some of this stuff it has a negative impact, how sensitive they are. And they don't know how to stop it. They don't know how to end it. They don't know how to clean it up. And then they never had what you call an interpersonal relationship. That means heart to heart, mind to mind, body to
Mhm.
body. So they've been together for 30 years or 40 years. He retires, she retires, and she doesn't know this guy.
Right.
Now she's home, she can't stand this guy, right? Or
Mhm.
this woman, however it works.
Yeah.
So you need to, I would say, invest in the relationship. Go have your date nights, have your sex time, have your together holding time, sharing times. Because
Mhm.
again, this is an interpersonal love relationship. Now, again, like I said, if if you have someone who's not emotionally expressive, you can have your physical times, doing things together, enjoying things together, whatever that is. You can have a business partner. But there are several legs to a relationship. Again, first leg is communication, some sort, a life together that blends. You also have the sexual relationship. You may have one partner who wants it, the other one doesn't. That's not a blend. You can have financial relationship? Does it blend? Spiritual relationships? Does it blend? So all of these all play a part in relationship, and you want to build each one, you know?
Yeah, that's right. That's really good advice. All right. And then because I hear this a lot, this is one of the questions that people are asking as well. They might be in a relationship where you're talking about this interpersonal connection, and they might feel like their spouse is emotionally unavailable. That is the term that is used.
Right.
So and it feels like they're absent in the marriage, like they're not present. So what is it actually, what does that mean? What
Mhm.
does it look like to be emotionally available?
Right. Well, I hear this a lot, and I also hear it about parents, you know. We all have different love languages, you know. And so let's say, for example, you grew up in a family where they worked hard, they were poor, they had nothing. And so for them, they're going to give you what they wanted as a child. They want to give you clothing, they want to give you food, they want to give you a home for security because they had none, right? And so they're going to date, marry someone who that they want to take care of, but that's how they take care of them is that one language. But the other language, and I see it all the time. So here it is. You say your love language is touch, and touch and inner heart communication. You know, you want to touch, you want to physically have sex or hold hands or whatever this is. And
Hmm.
but theirs isn't. There's a conflict.
Hmm.
Or if another one is words of praise. My parents never said they loved me. And I said, the reason that you say that is because your parents loved you, but they loved you at their own style. So here it is, you grew up as a little girl, and for your parents to give you clothes, or even to have clothes themselves, or to be able to have food. So to them, that's love. And so when they raise their kids, I'm going to give my children what I wanted, which is food, home, a nice car, nice school. But the child is getting this, but that's not important because it's normal. And so the child is looking for the part that they can't give, and then they find the fault with the partner. But yet, mom is saying, or your husband or your wife is saying, I love you because I do this. But you say, but you don't touch me. You don't do this or do that. You don't say
Right.
things.
Hmm.
So, for me, I know it's weird for me, and it's a fault in a sense because when I grew up as a kid, my mom did not take care of us. She did not take care of anything.
Right.
She's 15 years old. She had me. By the time she's 19, she had four kids. So the house was always a mess. She wasn't a good cook. I mean, her best cooking is hamburger helper, tuna helper, canned biscuits, and a canned goods. That was it. And she did fry occasionally pork chops, right? So
Hmm.
the house was always a mess. So when, my first wife, I felt love because she's taking care of us. I mean, she's folding laundry and I feel love, or she's doing the dishes to
Wow.
me because she's taking care of us because she invested in us. So that's a love style that I see. When I love people, I help them.
Hmm.
That's my as a giving. And so, but that is also a curse because some people will use you to take
Right.
advantage of you because there's got to be a balancing act in everything you do.
That's
So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you explained that well. All right.
so, for me and for you guys, the most important thing about improving relationships, it breaks down to one person, that's yourself. And again, we learn to have relationships by what we witness and experience personally. And if you want something better, you got to change your inner programming. Basically, in your mind, you have memories of dad, mom, and dad fighting. You change that. You use my system, you adjust the memories to where instead of fighting, they're hugging, they're kissing, they're talking. And when you change your memories to that, it's not changing what they did. It's telling your brain, I want this instead. So actually, you're redesigning your future, redesigning your relationships. And the crazy thing is, when you do that, the other style becomes not interested of. It's not important anymore. I don't want that. I've had that. I've got the tattoo. I wrote the book. I got the t-shirt.
Yeah.
I want something better.
Yeah.
So in order to have something better, you got to change what you have inside.
Hmm.
Keep the good stuff, let go of the bad stuff.
Hmm.
And this is
Yeah.
how to have a better relationship with yourself and with other people. So I think if you learn to do that one thing, And if you can be happy by yourself, you can be happy with someone else. And again, remember, we come from our families that they're always fault finding. And this is what people do. They have a beautiful man, beautiful woman, and they start nitpicking. They start finding, here it is, beautiful, and all this stuff. And then they're going to go into their training, find everything wrong with them. And then you destroy the relationship. You can get out.
Right, because you start dumping on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dumping on it, negative linking, creating negative stuff. Because again,
Wow.
there's no such thing as a perfect person, but people perfectly act the way they know how to act based on the trainings.
Yes, exactly. Well, I know that I got answers from this relationship podcast, so I know that others would also receive answers to their questions as well just by listening to this. So if you're ready for real change in your relationships, you can book a free strategy call and you can know exactly what's keeping you stuck and how to break free for good. So
Mhm.
get that clarity. If your relationship has you overthinking, second guessing, or feeling like you're losing yourself, one session with Robert can stop the spiral and put confidence back into your hands. So go ahead and book a private session with Robert to make those changes today.
Now, you've had sessions too. We've had sessions. What
Yes.
have you noticed? Big stuff. What's the big stuff you big notices your changes?
Well, since working with you, I've noticed, and this is the big one, I've noticed what I've been running away from. Actually dealing with some of the big issues instead of, escaping. And my escapism doesn't look like drugs, food, alcohol, but it looks like spirituality. It looks like, escaping into fairyland and the healing realm of angels
Mm-hmm.
and finally looking at the things that I didn't want to look at, especially in my marriage. And that's a big one. And I know like we're still working through some of the issues that have surfaced because I'm going to tell you once you start really doing the work and building that confidence, you're going to you're also going to experience the things that you didn't deal with because it will come up. If it's not coming up now, Robert, it's going to come up in another 5 years, another 10 years. And I mean, we could just be keep on perpetuating the problem. So it's not that it's a good thing that I'm finally looking at what was always there.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's safe now because you have a system that actually can change it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I can see that.
Yeah. So you're improving your relationship by working on you. All relationships, as a matter of fact.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm very proud of you. You've cleaned up a lot of stuff. I know there's more things you want to work through, and it
Yeah.
can happen now. It can happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. All
Yeah.
right, guys. Those of you who'd like something better, like to improve what you have, would like to live longer, be healthier, better love, being happy within yourself, being contented, be able to manifest something better, it all starts with how you operate within yourself. The number one skill for improvement is inner communication. Develop better inner communication. Change the things inside you that's not so good. Create what you want. Your brain will take you there. You just got to make sure you actually work on you. Change your inner world, you'll change your life. And people around you, your children, your friends, your partners, they will really see you in a different way and they will improve with you. Or you'll
That's
just accept them and be entertained.
right. I like that. That's it. Well, that's it for this episode of the Robert Jean Experience. And remember to sign up for Robert's free online course. That is a powerful way to begin healing and building healthy relationships, starting with yourself.
All right. Good job.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Is there anything else that I'm trying to think what else changed for me? I think it's big though, Robert. I do think.
You need to pay attention. You need to write it down because these are your
Well, I am. I have been. I thought I was writing things down, but I think more things have come up because when I started,
oh
remember
yeah.
that I had no memories. I'm like totally, I
Oh,
don't
right.
remember anything, Robert. And now I have a long list of things that I can start working through. So
Yeah.
that's huge. And I think the relationship aspect is really huge because it's in the Mennonite culture, you just stay married. You stay married. You sweep everything under the rug, Robert. You don't talk about it. You don't have that intimate connection where you go
Right.
into it. So,
Right.
and I think that's, and yet my family was very different because my family, we said everything. Like it was said, like if so, it's like F you, like this person's fighting this person. When Brent first came into our family, he was 15 years old, and he was shocked the way my dad spoke to my mom, the way my mom treated my dad. Like he was shocked by the dynamics because Brent has never once seen his parents fight. Not
Wow.
once. Not once. And
Hmm.
I talked to my father-in-law about that. And it's interesting. He said, we never fought in our marriage, not once. And everything inside of me said, I know why. Because
Why?
she couldn't. She couldn't say anything. Everything had to go in, and you don't say something in those relationships. You don't. And so
I kind of like that one.
I don't really like that one because I think I took that. I came from like squashed, I'm the bad one, like be good girl. And so coming into that, it's so easy to fit right back into good girl role. So it's so easy for me to be good
Hmm.
wife, So and if there's any trouble, guess where the fingers are pointed? And I told Brent this the other day. So I'm not saying what I wouldn't say publicly.
Right.
I said, if I ever did anything in our marriage, the whole community, all the fingers would be pointed right to Crystal,
Yep. The woman.
the woman. Exactly. So I'm like, you win, Brent, either way. You're always going to win because you're the man in this community. It's the woman's fault. So that's another thing that I have to live under that bar, you know?
Right. Right.
And I'm getting rid of this stuff.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Bad cultural trainings.
Yes, exactly.